I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about what brings you to NATO today.
I'm in the business of influencing policymakers. I think NATO at the political level is a very important institution. I think it's extremely important that women bring their voices and their concerns, to multilateral organizations like NATO. So I'm very happy to be here. I'm happy they're having a meeting for women, and we're going to talk about 1325.
We just celebrated the 1-year anniversary of the Arab Spring. And in your opinion, do you think women played a major role in those events? And do you feel that they played a major role in bringing about change in the region?
You and I both know that they have taken to the streets. You have seen their voices. We have seen them throwing stones. We have heard their voices. They have been there in spirit, physically and politically and socially, in every which way. They have taken huge chances. And I honestly believe the Arab uprising would not have been an Arab disaster if women were not part of it. So yes, they have. But the question is the day after, that they really thought that they were going to be part of this incredible change. And yes, everyone has an opportunity. And yes, dictators were gone because, again, that women come by numbers. Women are, if they're not 60%, they're 50%. So you cannot ignore the numbers of women. And I think it's only when women came, and they were the first to come to, to Tahrir Square and to change the square, that really it has taken, it made a difference, that the revolution started happening. So, but now, of course, there are incredible concerns. Other conservatives are trying to hijack the spirit of the revolution and, the value of, democracy, human rights, justice, and dignity, of course, were the values that the revolution has happened. So right at this moment, others are trying to hijack that, make it their own, and leave women behind. So women have, again, started, like they have always done, fighting for their rights, coming and setting up coalitions, and the war is going to be the constitutions. So if you have, we all believe in democracy and elections, and yes, there were free elections in Egypt, for example, but they were not fair. Some were more organized and more conspiring than others. So right at this moment, you have the majority, you have less than 1% in the parliament in Egypt of women, for conservatives and for, liberal women. Really, their voices are not heard. You are not going to change a country or a constitution by 1%. You have the Noor Party and you have the Islamic Brotherhood, and they are fighting, and the majority of the committee that's going to draft the constitution in Egypt are from the Noor Party and the Muslim Brotherhood. And of course, there is no woman again. Just like before, the first time that the referendum was going to be taken, the constitution, and they set up the committee, there was no woman. Again, they're leaving women behind, but the women are fighting. They're not waiting for somebody to come and liberate themselves from themselves. So they are fighting, and I guess, in the spirit of democracy and change, that's what's happening, and,
Very good. No, thanks.
It's not lost yet, but it has just begun, and let's hope at least there is a fighting chance.
Do you also feel that social media has played a role in empowering women in the region and giving them a larger voice?
I think social media has been the tool that people have used and women have used. When some families did not want their daughters to go out and they were in the house, they were the ones behind the keyboards. And they were the ones who really were organizing and mobilizing people to come out and to go out to the streets. So it has, of course, helped. Yes, I think it made political mobilization easier. It has connected more people, more women together. It has unified, their thinking, because they are continuously in discussion. And it has also helped them to prioritize what are the issues that women really want in their countries, and what are the issues that they should be putting on their agenda. So yes, it was extremely helpful tool for women, and of course for the whole people in the region. Yeah.
What should NATO be doing, do you believe, in order to give women a larger role in peace building and security issues?
I think I'm very happy and I'm glad I'm here now that NATO is actually thinking about the day after. I think NATO is known for the bombing and the fighting and all of this. I think Libya, you could say, was a success story until, for the limited time and all that. But what NATO could do is also to support. I think women, they have to connect with the women. Every community, when the men go out to fight, the women are left in the communities. This woman, you have to communicate with the women. You have to help and support them. Security for women means training and jobs and schools and health system. Security doesn't mean you have to really. The narrative has to change. It's not about weapons and securing the woman. Securing the woman is giving them education, an opportunity to give them education. So if you are going to come anyway, and if you are going to help, like Libya or whatever it is, you might as well. You have to. You cannot just come in and just leave. I think it's very important for NATO also. To help and support security for women means education and health systems and roads and infrastructure and employment and all of that. So you have to you can think one way and not the other, because, like they say in Somalia, they say nabad i'ana, which means peace and milk. So security is depending. You cannot, without security, you can have milk, and you can't have milk without security. So I think NATO should have that kind of a strategy when it's dealing with the communities in our parts of the world. So it's very important that the support is there. Again, it doesn't mean that you have to come and give money or whatever. It is not at all. You have to build in the infrastructure that's already in existence. And if you see everywhere, you will see a woman who is trying to build a house in a little hut. You'll find, the community trying to clear a mine or what do you call a road, so that they can bring their vegetables to sell in the markets and all this. So you really have to change that. That narrative has already changed, and I think NATO has to change too and think about women and gender. And I think it's extremely important also when NATO has the troops there, that they have to really take women there who can. It will be easier to talk to communities if it are women who are talking. At the same time, we also need in our countries. You cannot talk about gender. I think NATO also has to practice that. We need envoys. We need to see women. Women need to see other women who are in power. And that is a fantastic example. But if you are, dealing with dictators or, governments that really don't believe in women's rights, that are keeping their women behind closed doors, and then you have NATO, negotiating for peace, and they have 10 men and there is no woman, and what example are you setting? So if you are a multicultural, and if you are believe in democracy and openness and all that, you will be a better example to really to bring more women and to involve more women and to be extremely gender sensitive, and the troops should be very gender sensitive, and they should, 1325 should be a resolution that should be used.
And if you could speak directly to women living in the Middle East and in the Arab world, what message would you like to give them?
I would never take myself that serious to think that women in the Middle East are going to listen to what I'm saying. But I would like to, feel that I'm also part of it. And I'm not saying anything that they haven't said. And whatever I say is something that I have already learned from them, which means we are here and we're not going back to our homes. Their blood stains are still in Tahrir Square. And they paid their blood in this revolution. And they're not going back to their homes. So they were part and parcel of the revolution and the uprising. And they are going to be part and parcel of the change that's going to come. And I'm very positive that change is going to come, and a good change for women. And the society, I always said that, a great indication is if you see a country, for example, if you look at Egypt, and Egypt, of course, women were part and parcel of this now. The elections have heard. Only 1% won, won the seat to parliament. But the point is, if you see a country that's continuously practicing and leaving their women behind, it's a country that's not committed to democracy, human rights, and justice. So it's not only the women who are going to lose, everyone is going to lose eventually. And I think that would be an indicator. It's not a question of, the women were not given the rights. I mean, the way, gender issues and women's issues are far more complex and very complicated. It's not just this or that, not at all. But if any government that, whether it's in the West or East or wherever it is, any government, even if it's NATO, if they're, leaving the woman behind, it's of course a country or an organization that's not committed to the ideals that it was set for.